Look at this symbol. Lee pointed to a small marking etched into the corner of the door. It was a simple design, Earth's old continental outlines surrounded by a circle. Human, Kim whispered, adjusting his breathing apparatus. This is human. Technology. The four other members of his Talaxian research team gathered around, their scaled skin reflecting the harsh sunlight. Humans? Park asked, her tone skeptical. But they were never advanced enough to build outposts this far from there. Home system. Kim nodded in agreement. In the current galactic community, humans were a minor species, known more for their art and diplomacy than for technological achievement. They had a few modest colonies but had never been considered a major power. Let's open it, Kim decided. Bay, bring the molecular cutter. The team worked methodically, careful not to damage whatever lay inside. After 3 hours of precise work, the ancient door slid open with a surprising smoothness, releasing a hiss of preserved atmosphere. Lights automatically flickered on inside, revealing a vast chamber that stretched deep underground. The team stood frozen in amazement. Impossible, whispered Choi, the team's biologist. Inside the chamber stood 12 massive humanoid figures, each at least 3 meters tall. They were arranged in a perfect circle, encased in what appeared to be suspension pods. The figures weren't robots. They were clearly biomechanical, a perfect fusion of human biology and machine that exceeded anything currently available in the galaxy. What are they? Lee asked, approaching the nearest pod with her scanner. Kim studied the central console that had activated with their entry. Ancient human writing scrolled across its screen, which his translator quickly processed. They're called Titans, he said quietly. According to this, they're some kind of ultimate soldier. Human minds and bodies enhanced and merged with adaptive combat systems. That's not possible, Park insisted. Our historical records show humans never developed this level of technology. And yet here it is, Kim replied, gesturing around the chamber. Thousands of years old and still more advanced than anything we have now. Bay, the team's engineer, was examining the nearest pod with growing excitement. The integration between biological and mechanical components is seamless. Look how the neural pathways connect directly to the armor systems. This armor isn't just worn, it's part of them. Kim accessed more files from the central console. According to this, these Titans were created for some kind of massive conflict, something called the Harvester War. I've never heard of any such war in galactic history, Choi said. Neither have I, Kim admitted, but these records suggest it was existential, a threat to all life in the galaxy. Park, always concerned with security, kept her hand near her weapon. Should we report this to the Galactic Council immediately? Kim hesitated. Discoveries of this magnitude were supposed to be reported at once, but something made him pause. Let's learn more first. If humans once had technology this advanced and then lost it or hid it, there must be a reason. As the team spread out to document their find, Lee called out in alarm. Dr. Kim, this pod is showing activity. The team rushed over to see that one of the suspension chambers was indeed powering up, frost melting from its transparent surface. Inside they could see the massive figure beginning to stir. What did you touch? Kim asked urgently. Nothing, Lee insisted. I was just scanning it and suddenly the pod's systems began a startup sequence, mechanical voice announcing, emergency, revival protocol initiated. Titan Commander designation Alpha 1 awakening. The team backed away as the pod opened with a hydraulic hiss. Steam billowed out, and a massive armored figure sat up slowly. Its armor seemed to flow like liquid metal, while maintaining perfect structural integrity. When it opened its eyes, they were unmistakably human, alert and intelligent, set in a face that blended seamlessly with advanced technology. The Titan looked at each of them before speaking in a deep, resonant voice. I am Commander June. You are not human. Why have you awakened me? The massive Titan stepped out of its pod with surprising grace. Despite standing over 3 meters tall, Commander June moved smoothly, his armor flowing like liquid metal around his form. The 5 Talaxian scientists backed away, their scaled skin pale with shock. I asked you a question, Commander June said, his voice deep yet clearly human. Why have you awakened me? Dr. Kim stepped forward, trying to keep his forefingered, hands from trembling. "It was not intentional. We are researchers from the Galactic Science Academy. We discovered this facility while investigating energy readings." The Titan's eyes, human eyes in a face partially merged with technology, narrowed slightly. "The Galactic Science Academy did not exist during my operational period. What year is it by Earth standard?" Kim swallowed hard before answering. "By human calendar, it would be the year 4732 CE. The Titan went completely still. For several moments, only the soft hum of his internal systems broke the silence. Finally, he spoke again. "I have been dormant for over 4,500 years. "What exactly are you?" asked Bay, the engineer, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "Your technology is far beyond anything we've seen." "I am a Titan, a human warrior enhanced and merged with adaptive combat systems," Jun replied, examining his own armored hand as if reacquainting himself with his body. "I volunteered for permanent integration with this system to fight in humanity's greatest war." Lee, still near the central console, called out, "Dr. Kim, the other pods are showing increased activity." Jun turned his attention to the 11 other suspension chambers. "My squad, they should remain dormant unless—" His voice trailed off as he quickly moved to the central command station, his massive fingers surprisingly delicate on the ancient controls. "This facility's monitors detected a breach in the dimensional seal," he stated, his tone now urgent. "That is the only reason for automatic revival protocols to engage." "Dimensional seal? What does that mean?" asked Kim. Instead of answering directly, Jun activated a holographic display. The air between them filled with images of space, stars, planets, and then something else. Something that seemed to bend and distort the very fabric of reality around it. The sight of it made the scientists' eyes hurt and their minds recoil. "The Void Harvesters," Jun explained. "A non-sentient cosmic parasite that entered our galaxy 4,500 years ago. They consumed all organic matter they encountered and could not be destroyed by conventional means." The hologram changed to show massive battles, humans in armor similar to Jun's fighting alongside conventional military forces against the writhing cosmic horrors. "We were losing," Jun continued. "World after world fell. In desperation, humanity created the Titan program, volunteers who would permanently bond with our most advanced technology to become living weapons. But there is no record of this. War in any galactic history," said Choi, the biologist. "Because we won," replied Jun simply. "At the final battle, we forced the Harvesters into a collapsing quantum singularity and created a dimensional seal to trap them between realities." Park, ever suspicious, kept her hand near her weapon. If this threat was so great, why would all record of it be erased? Jun's expression became grim. That was humanity's choice. The technology to create us, to merge human and machine at this level, was deemed too dangerous to keep. After victory, all records were sealed or destroyed. Humanity chose to rebuild itself as a peaceful species, remembering neither the threat nor what they became to defeat it. As if responding to Jun's words, the facility's lights flashed red and alarms began to sound. The 11 remaining pods started their revival sequences simultaneously. "What's happening?" demanded Kim, as the chamber filled with the hiss of opening pods and mechanical activation sequences. "The dimensional seal is failing," Jun explained, "moving quickly between stations. That's why I was awakened. The Harvesters are returning." From each pod, another Titan emerged, each unique in design but equally massive and advanced. They moved with military precision, immediately checking systems and weapons that had laid dormant for millennia. "How is this possible?" whispered Lee. "Your systems should have degraded after so much time. Our technology is self-maintaining," explained a female Titan as she joined them. "I am Second Commander Min. Our bodies exist in a state of suspended quantum coherence when dormant." Jun turned to Kim. "You must notify your Galactic Council. The dimensional seal will fully collapse within 14 days. The Harvesters will return, and they will be hungry after 4,500 years of containment." "Humans today have no knowledge of this threat," Kim said. "They are a minor species in galactic politics with limited military capacity." For the first time, something like surprise showed on June's face. Humans. Minor. That was not the plan. After victory, humanity should have used our technology to advance, not retreat. Perhaps they feared becoming like you, suggested Choi softly. June considered her words, then nodded slowly. Perhaps that is wisdom greater than we understood. But now the choice of peace may cost everything. The harvesters care nothing for politics or species. They consume all life equally. The 12, the Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tense voices. 50 representatives from the major species sat in curved rows, all focused on the massive figures standing in the center. The 12 titans towered over everyone, their armor shifting with subtle patterns of light. Commander June stood perfectly, still as accusations and questions flew across the chamber. "These weapons should be dismantled for study," shouted the Narvian ambassador, his translucent tentacles waving angrily. "They are not just weapons," Dr. Kim argued from his position beside the titans. "They are living beings with a critical..." Warning. The council leader, an elderly Zexorian with silver scales, raised her hand for silence. "Commander June, you claim a threat is returning that none of our histories record. Why should we believe you?" June's voice carried easily through the large space. "I do not ask for belief, I offer proof." He nodded to Second Commander Min, who activated a projection in the center of the room. The image showed a distant region of space, where reality itself seemed to warp and tear. "This rift is located at the edge of the Crimson Nebula," June explained. "It is where we sealed the Void Harvesters 4,500 years ago. The seal is failing." Admiral Han of the Galactic Defense Fleet leaned forward. "Our long-range scans show unusual activity in that region, but nothing that indicates a threat of this magnitude." "Your scanners are not designed to detect them," said Min. "Harvesters exist partially outside normal space-time. That is why conventional weapons were useless against them." From the human section, a small woman in simple clothes stood up. This was Ambassador Doe, Earth's representative to the Council. "My government has examined our oldest sealed archives," she said quietly. "We found references to a period called the Forgetting, when humanity deliberately erased aspects of its history. These titans appear to be from that era." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The human ambassador continued, "We have also found star charts marking the Crimson Nebula as forbidden space, though no one remembered why." Admiral Han pounded, his fist on the table. "This proves nothing. For all we know, these constructs are programmed with false memories to manipulate us." June turned his gaze to the Admiral. "You doubt because you have not seen. Let me show you." Before anyone could object, June linked his systems to the chamber's main display. Suddenly the room filled with vivid images, not recordings, but actual memories complete with sensory data that made everyone present feel as if they were there. They saw Earth cities in flames. They felt the hopelessness, as conventional forces failed against enemies that seemed to bend reality itself. They experienced the volunteers' determination as they underwent the irreversible process to become titans, sacrificing their humanity to save everyone else. Finally, they witnessed the last battle, 12 titans creating a quantum singularity that trapped the harvesters between dimensions. When the memories ended, the chamber was silent. Many representatives were weeping or shaking. "Now you understand," said June simply. Dr. Kim stepped forward. "My team has verified their technology. It is genuine and far beyond our current capabilities. Whatever created these beings was facing extinction and found a solution we can barely comprehend." The council leader's voice was unsteady as she asked, "What do you need from us, Commander?" "We need nothing," June replied. "We were designed to fight this enemy alone if necessary, but united resistance would be more effective." "Why would humans create such power, then abandon it?" asked the Zexorian representative. "If your technology is as advanced as it appears, they could have ruled the galaxy." Ambassador Du answered, "Perhaps that's exactly why they chose to forget. Some powers are too dangerous to keep." June nodded. "Your ancestors were wise. After seeing what we became, what they had to become to create us, they chose a different path. They sealed away not just the knowledge of the harvesters, but the weapons they built to fight them. And now those weapons have awakened," said Admiral Han, his earlier suspicion replaced with growing respect. "We were never just weapons," corrected Min. "We remain human at our core. We fight not for glory or power, but because it is our duty to protect life." As the Council debated their response to the coming threat, June moved to speak privately with Ambassador Do. "Your people today, they are nothing like what I remember," he said, studying her simple clothing and calm demeanor. She smiled gently. "After your time, our histories say humanity went through a great change. We turned away from military power and focused instead on art, philosophy, and peaceful cooperation. We gave up our ambitions of galactic dominance and became minor players." "In consequence," June observed. "Yes," she agreed. "We chose to be small but good rather than powerful and feared. Was that wrong?" June was silent for a long moment. "No," he finally said. "It was the best choice. But now the luxury of peace is ending. The harvesters care nothing for philosophy or art. They consume without thought or mercy." Ambassador Du looked up at the massive Titan. "Then we are fortunate that our ancestors left us guardians, even if we forgot why we needed them." Across the chamber, the council was coming to a decision. The leader called for order and announced, "We will send a scientific expedition to the Crimson Nebula to verify this threat. If confirmed, the Galactic Fleet will support the Titans in their mission." June turned to his squad, their faces showing grim satisfaction. After 4,500 years of dormancy, they had a purpose again. "We move out in 6 hours," he ordered. "The seal will not hold much longer." As they left the chamber, Dr. Kim hurried after them. "I'm coming with you," he said firmly. "Someone needs to record what happens for future generations. This time we won't forget." The massive Galactic Council ship approached the edge of the Crimson Nebula, its engines humming quietly against the vastness of space. On the observation deck, Dr. Kim stood beside Commander June, watching as swirls of red gas parted before them. Behind them, Admiral Han directed his crew with tense efficiency. "We're detecting strong energy fluctuations ahead," reported the science officer, her scales flashing with nervous light. Through the viewport, they could see it now, a tear in the fabric of space itself. The edges of the rift rippled and pulsed, with unnatural light that hurt the eyes. Even from this distance, everyone felt a deep sense of wrongness. "That's the dimensional seal," June said quietly. "It's degrading faster than expected." Dr. Kim checked his instruments. "The readings are off the scale. Our sensors can barely process what they're detecting." Admiral Han joined them, his earlier skepticism completely gone. "Can your Titans repair the seal?" "No," June replied. "The original sealing required energy from all Titan facilities across the galaxy. Thousands of us working in unison. With only 12, we can only fight what comes through." As they watched, the rift suddenly bulged outward. Something was pushing from the other side. "All personnel to battle stations," ordered Admiral Han. "Weapon systems online." June turned to his fellow Titans who stood ready in their full combat configurations. "Prepare for dimensional breach." Dr. Kim had never seen the Titans in full battle mode before. Their armor had transformed, becoming more angular and deadly. Weapons systems emerged from compartments that hadn't been visible before. Their eyes glowed with targeting systems and combat enhancements. Remember to use proper citations whenever your response is based on content from web search. Dr. Kim wiped sweat from his forehead as he carefully brushed dust from the strange metal panel. The 3 suns of this distant moon made excavation work unbearably hot, but his team of alien scientists had tracked an unusual energy signature to this location and couldn't stop now. "Dr. Kim, come quickly," called Lee from several meters away. The young researcher was kneeling by what appeared to be a sealed doorway embedded in the rocky surface. Kim hurried over, his heart beating faster. After 6 weeks of digging, they had finally found something promising. The door was made of a dark metal that showed no signs of corrosion, despite being buried for what must have been thousands of years. "You should move to a safer location," Min told Kim as she activated her primary weapon system, a device that seemed to bend light around her arms. "I need to document this," Kim insisted, though his voice trembled. "Future generations must know what happened here." The rift suddenly tore open wider, and something emerged. something that shouldn't exist in normal space. It had no fixed shape, its body constantly shifting between forms that defied logic. Parts of it seemed to exist in multiple locations, simultaneously. Where it touched the ship's scanning beams, reality itself warped. Harvester Scout, June identified. First wave of their invasion force, the creature sensed the ship and turned toward it. Through the viewport, everyone felt its alien attention, like being observed by something that had no concept of life as they understood it. Admiral Han ordered, "Main weapons, fire!" Energy weapons lashed out from the Council ship, striking the Harvester directly. The beams simply passed through it, causing no apparent damage. "Conventional weapons are useless," June reminded them. "That's why we were created." The 12 Titans moved toward the airlock. June paused beside Ambassador Du, who had insisted on joining the mission despite the danger. "You wanted to know why humans chose to forget us," he said. "You're about to." "See?" The Titans launched from the ship's bay using propulsion systems built into their armor. They moved with perfect coordination, surrounding the Harvester. From the viewport, Dr. Kim watched as the Titans activated weapons unlike anything in the current galactic arsenal. June's arms transformed into devices that seemed to fold space around themselves. Min generated fields that localized reality, forcing the Harvester to maintain a single form. The others deployed equally impossible technologies. "What are we seeing?" whispered Admiral Han. "The reason humanity chose to seal away this knowledge," Ambassador Du replied softly. "They created weapons that break the laws of physics as we understand them." The Harvester fought back, parts of its body stretching across dimensions to attack from impossible angles. 2 Titans were struck by these attacks, their armor briefly destabilizing before adaptive systems compensated. As the battle raged, the rift widened further. More Harvesters began to emerge. "There are too many," Admiral Han said. "Even your Titans can't fight them all." June's voice came through the communication system. "We don't need to fight them all. We just need to close the rift." The Titans suddenly changed tactics. Instead of attacking the Harvesters directly, they formed a circle around the tear in space. Their armor began to glow with increasing intensity, channeling energy between them. "What are they doing?" Dr. Kim asked. On the command deck, the science officer reported, "They're generating a quantum field similar to the dimensional seal, but localized. They're trying to close the rift." "It won't hold permanently," Min's voice explained through the comm. "But it will buy time for your civilizations to prepare." The Titan's armor now glowed so brightly that the viewport automatically darkened to protect the observers. Energy arced between them, forming a web that began to pull the edges of the rift closed. The Harvesters sensed the threat and attacked with renewed fury. 1 Titan fell, his systems overloaded by a direct strike. The others intensified their efforts, channeling his remaining energy into their network. "They can't hold much longer," Admiral Han said, watching the power readings spike dangerously. Ambassador Du stepped closer to the viewport. "This is what our ancestors saw, what they chose to forget, the price of victory." On the view screen, the Titans' human features were visible through their helmets, faces contorted with effort and pain, as they channeled energies that their bodies were never meant to contain. Suddenly, there was a blinding flash. When the light faded, the rift had shrunk to a fraction of its former size. The Harvesters that had emerged were trapped in a shimmering energy field, their forms slowly dissolving as reality reasserted itself around them. The Titans floated in space, 9 still functional though badly damaged. 2 had been completely destroyed in the final energy surge. As the surviving Titans returned to the ship, Dr. Kim realized that the galaxy would never be the same. The knowledge humanity had tried to forget had returned, and with it, both salvation and terrible power. 6 months after the battle at the Crimson Nebula, Dr. Kim stood on the observation platform of the newly constructed Titan Command Center. The massive space station orbited Earth, a planet he had never visited before the crisis began. Below him, Earth shimmered blue and green, looking peaceful despite the profound changes that had swept through human society. Since the return of the Harvesters and the revelation of the Titans, humans had gone from a minor species to the center of galactic attention. Commander June entered the platform, his heavy footsteps announcing his presence. His armor was fully repaired now, though the loss of 3 of his squad members had left visible marks on his human features. "The council representatives have arrived," June said. "They're waiting in the main chamber." Kim nodded and followed. The massive Titan through corridors, specially designed to accommodate their size. Everywhere teams of scientists from a dozen species worked alongside human engineers, studying technology that had been hidden for thousands of years. "Are you certain about this decision?" Kim asked as they walked. "Yes," June replied simply. "It's the only way forward." The main chamber fell silent as they entered. 50 representatives from the Galactic Council sat around a circular table, with Ambassador Doe representing Earth. In the center of the table sat a small device, unassuming despite its importance. Admiral Han, now promoted to Supreme Commander of Galactic Defense, stood to greet them. "Commander June, Dr. Kim, thank you for joining us. Are we ready to begin?" June nodded and took his place at the head of the table. The surviving 8 Titans stood behind him, their presence both reassuring and intimidating. 3 months ago," June began, "we managed to temporarily seal the dimensional rift, but our sensors confirm what we feared. The harvesters are still breaking through. The seal will not hold permanently." Holographic displays showed the rift, smaller now but still pulsing with ominous energy. "Our projections suggest complete failure within 2 years, Min added. "When that happens, the harvesters will return in full force." Voices rose in concern around the table until Admiral Han called for order. "We've gathered today to discuss Commander June's proposal," Han said. "A solution that is both promising and troubling." All eyes turned to the small device in the center of the table. "This contains the complete technical specifications for the Titan program," June explained. "Everything needed to create more of us." A tense silence fell over the room. Everyone understood the implications. The technology that humanity had once sealed away as too dangerous would now be shared. "Are we truly considering this?" asked the Zexorian representative. "Creating more of these living weapons would give humanity unprecedented power." Ambassador Doe spoke up, her voice calm but firm. "My government understands the concerns. That's why we propose not to keep this technology exclusively for humans." Surprised murmurs spread through the chamber. June continued. "The Titan program would be administered by the Galactic Council, not Earth alone. Volunteers from all species would be accepted, creating a defensive force that represents the entire galaxy. Is such a thing even possible?" asked a representative from the outer systems. "The technology was designed for human biology." "It can be adapted," Min answered. "We've been working with Dr. Kim and scientists from every council species to modify the integration protocols." Dr. Kim stepped forward. "The test results are promising. The Titan systems can bond with most sentient species, though the process remains permanent and irreversible." Admiral Han addressed the room. "Let's be clear about what we're discussing. Creating more Titans would give us the power to fight the harvesters, but it means permanently transforming volunteers into living weapons, beings that exist between organic and machine. It also means abandoning the wisdom of our ancestors," Ambassador Doe added quietly. "They chose to seal this knowledge away for good reasons." June looked around the table. "Your ancestors made that choice in a time of peace. You do not have that luxury. The harvesters are returning and conventional defenses will fail." The council debated for hours, weighing the moral implications against survival. Finally, a vote was called. By a narrow margin, they approved the creation of a new Titan force under council oversight. As the representatives filed out, Dr. Kim approached June on the observation deck. Together, they watched Earth rotate below them, clouds swirling across its surface. "Are we making a mistake?" Kim asked. "Once this knowledge is shared, it can never be taken back." June was silent for a long moment. "My creators feared what they had become to defeat the harvesters. They feared the power they had created in us. So they chose to forget, to become something gentler." He turned to look at Kim. "It was a noble choice, but sometimes survival requires strength. The question isn't whether you will have this power, it's what you will choose to do with it once the threat is gone." A month later, the first new Titans emerged from the integration chambers, volunteers from 12 different species, including Talaxians, Zexorians, and humans. They stood together, their diverse biologics seamlessly merged with the adaptive armor that made them something more than they had been. Commander June inspected the new recruits, their armor still adjusting to their unique physiologies. Unlike his squad, created in desperation by a single species, these beings represented something new, a galaxy united by common purpose. "You have chosen to become something beyond your original selves," June told them. "You will never return to what you were, but you will stand as guardians of all life." Dr. Kim watched from the sidelines, recording everything for future generations. This time, there would be no forgetting. The knowledge would remain, along with the responsibility it brought. As the dimensional rift continued to pulse at the edge of known space, the new Titans began their training. The legacy of ancient human warbeasts had become the galaxy's best hope, a power once hidden, now embraced out of necessity. Whether they would follow humanity's original path and seal away this knowledge again after victory remained to be seen. But for now, as Kim watched these new guardians prepare for war, he understood both the fear that had led to the forgetting and the courage required to remember once more. Titans gathered in the center of the chamber, their armor systems fully activated and glowing with power. Even without weapons, they radiated a sense of controlled lethality that made the scientists step back. "We were created for one purpose," June said. "That purpose has returned. The question now is, will your galactic civilization stand with us, or must we fight alone again?"